Hey folks, welcome to another Broken Meeple Blitz review. If you like what you see, please remember to leave a like on the channel. It means the world to me to know that you appreciate the content. And remember that there is a small Patreon campaign going if you want to support the channel even further. So today we're taking a look at Settlement from iGames by Alexander Nevsky. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. But I was intrigued by this one, not because of what it's about or its theme, but because this is the designer of Mysterium and, oh, they're not even up here, they're downstairs. Mysterium, Detective Club, two of my favourite party games of all time. So I thought, okay, he's going into Euro games now. This is a bit different from his usual fare. Maybe this will be good. iGames did Detective, I think. I think they were the first ones that did. But other than that, I don't know much about what they do. So I got this one, and this is essentially a light, very light, engine building Euro game. And it is very much your standard Euro game. So you are using meeples as your resource. You are then using those in order to perform actions which get you other resources like stone, wood, and brick or whatever, and gold. And you're using those in order to buy cards that get you victory points as well as do other little actions. It is basically your run-of-the-mill engine building Euro. That being said, there's a lot going for this game, and I feel that there is a market for this. Even if I might not necessarily be it, well, we'll get onto that a bit more in detail. So the idea with Settlement is that you have 4 rounds and everybody has their own player board, and there's a central market board, and this basically just holds a bunch of tiles and various things that you can potentially buy from, but predominantly every player is going to have their own board. And the idea is that you have 7 actions to pick from, and your meeples are effectively your currency, of which everybody's got a bunch of them available. And the actions that you can do are things like build a city building, go explore a region tile, go kill a monster, go acquire this, go grab this, and they're very simplistic actions, and the board tells you exactly how many meeples they cost. So I need, let's say, a level 1 region needs 1 meeple, level 2 needs 2, and so on. The iconography, I will say, is very good, very crystal clear, all over the place. It is definitely not a tricky one to learn. But through these actions, you are essentially building up your own little personal settlement, getting some tiles, activating them in order to get resources or to convert X into Y. And then once you've got a decent amount of resources per se, you're able to buy various hero cards, which effectively just give you some extra victory points at the end of the game, but they cost a different amount of resources. Sadly, that's kind of all the heroes do. They also dictate what type of monsters come out to fight, but that's just basically part of the region tile as to whether it blocks the resource production or not. They don't actually do special abilities or anything. That, on the other hand, is taken care of by these artifacts. A bit like in Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, if you played any of those with the bonus tiles, essentially these give you a special bonus for the round. And there's all sorts of things, like it gives you an extra worker. Every time you explore a region tile, you get some extra resource. Every time you build a settlement, a battlement, you get an extra thing. They're very small but very useful bonuses, and each player will be able to use one in the round before they have to go back, and then other players can pick it, or you could pick a different artifact for the next round. But that's essentially what these are. Firstly, this is really, really simple to play. Really dirt simple. The rulebook may look big and menacing, and it did at first, until you realise that everything is not only pretty large font to read, but also most of it is in other languages. That entire section there, this entire bit there, is all other languages. So in fact, you've only got about, let's see, 3, 5, 7, 9, about 10 pages or so to read for the rules. And this is big font with a lot of pictorial representation. I mean, it is impossible to have questions here. There's a bit of text to read as well, but it's very basic stuff. If you've never seen this type of game before, you should be able to play it just fine after giving it a good read through. If you're someone like me who's played a lot of this stuff before, you breeze through this rulebook in minutes and you're already well away. And that's kind of the thing you've got to get from this game. It's 60 minutes to play. It's ages 10 and up for 1 to 4 players. This is definitely aimed at gateway family weight gamers. This is kind of like your intro to what a typical modern Euro game is. Because that used to be Catan in a sense. It used to be like the entryway into German Euro games. I now think that this could essentially not be a replacement for Catan because it's a very different game, but in terms of saying, right, you want to know what Euro games are like. Okay, well here's Settlement. This will give you a nice basic indication. The theme is non-existent, really. I mean, yeah, you're building a settlement, but it's basically just getting a couple of different types of tile. The heroes don't do anything, they're just victory points. Even these monsters, which I'm sad to say, as fun as these wooden meeples are and how well they're produced in that, they are literally just placeholders to block resources and things for you to kill with an action. That's it. They don't really do anything really cool or funky, they're just there to look good. That being said, this game does look good. Wow, I mean, this is a well-produced game. If this is the kind of thing that iGames can put out on a regular basis in terms of production quality, we're in for a treat. Everything from like big chunky meeples of 2 different colours, you know, very chunky if basic resources, gold coins, plenty of cards with very good artwork, very gorgeous artwork, personal player boards which are, you know, not the thickest card in the world, but they're sturdy enough and they've got the perfect graphic design on them to see what's going on. These ridiculously huge, like, monster minis. I mean, look at these things. That's just a handful of them. They're huge, absolutely huge. They really do look good on the table, even if they don't have a great deal of use, sadly. And then, of course, you've got the tiles, you know, the various region tiles and the exploration tiles that you can do. So, a bunch of city tiles. Look, lots of those. All of those with great artwork, and then you've also got, now I'm not going to tip them out, don't worry, but you've got, you know, the region tiles as well with decent artwork. So there's a lot in this game for a relatively decent price. It's not too expensive either, but you know, you're going to want it to be good looking, don't you? You want to entice new people into the hobby. You can't give them the blandest looking game ever. You got to give them something with a little bit of flair and colour. But where I'm a little bit like hesitant for myself is that this is definitely gateway and family friendly. But I think it's solely for gateway and family-friendly gamers. I don't think midway, heavyweight gamers are going to get anything from this. You know, even for me, if I want to play a relatively light engine builder or something that's not too taxing, I've got things like Empires of the North on the shelf that I would probably play first, as well as 1 or 2 others. This one I wouldn't really pick up to play myself. It's also very multiplayer solitaire. Pretty much entirely multiplayer solitaire. I've seen a couple of reviews done recently for this game, and they sort of really try to gloss over the fact that it's multiplayer solitaire. No, this is multiplayer solitaire. You know, oh look, you can potentially get a different artifact each round if a player passes early. That's literally it.
This is why Superman works alone.
I don't affect anything the other players do. The monsters that are on my board are on my board. The region tiles, the city buildings, they're all on my board. Literally, it's just a case of whether you take it from the communal bit in the center. It is such a multiplayer solitaire game that the solo rules literally tweak one tiny aspect of the multiplayer rules, and then they're exactly the same. Beat a high score. You know, when you see solo rules like that, you know it's multiplayer solitaire. So, is the game fun to play? It's fine. It does the job, and that's the kind of game this is. It does the job nicely. The job is to get people introduced to an engine building Euro game that's not difficult, that still gives you some interesting decisions to make, and looks really good on the table. I would certainly recommend this for a game cafe, or somebody who is just playing games with, like, you know, their family or friends that have never played games before. But I didn't personally find a lot of staying power in this to keep me personally coming back for more. And I realised that I'm just not simply the target audience here. I could use this to teach new players games. I mean, I probably will give this to my games cafe. I'll give it to my friendly local game cafe and they can put it on their shelf. And if somebody wants to learn an easy Euro game, I might pull it off the shelf and play it, because it's still nice enough to play once, and then you could put it down for a while. But I can't see people wanting to play this and then rinse repeat it over and over again, because you will play very much the same type of game regardless of what artifacts you have. This is literally just a case of, oh, if I do this particular action I get a little resource. It's not fundamentally changing the way you play the game, and what actions you do are kind of up to you, really. You know, there's no real like, oh, I'm doing the region strategy or I'm doing the city strategy. It's like, no, you kind of just do what you need to do to go through the motions. Some interesting mechanisms are mainly down from exploring regions and building city buildings, because once you've got the buildings on your board, you activate them in rows, and then you basically go from left to right, activating the buildings in turn. So if you've built them in a particular way, you can create a nice little engine. As I say, it's teaching you the basics of engine building before you start getting into the more meaty stuff. So in summary, Settlement is a solid game for the right person. I'm not the right person. It is very smooth, very simple, very pleasing, and a perfect introduction to engine building Euro games. 6 rounds, and all you do is just do your actions until you run out of meeples, pass, get a different artifact, rinse, repeat. Nice and smooth, very simple and easy to score. So if you're a light gamer or trying to give this to new gamers or those who like family weight gaming, then this will work. This will work nicely. But for me, and I suspect a lot of other sort of midweight, heavyweight gamers, there's just not enough meat here to keep you coming back for more. You'll enjoy it if it gets played, but you'll be kind of done with it for a while, or you may just not seek it out in general because you'll want something a little bit more meaty. Like I say, in my case, I'd rather play Empires of the North if I wanted a kind of midweight to light engine builder. This one just doesn't really give me enough, even in a solo mode, to keep me coming back for more. But I'm still gonna give this one a lowish, but still a seal of endorsement, and give this a 7 out of 10, because I do believe what it gets right and does it well. It's just not a game for me, but I'm going to recommend it to lightweight gamers and new gamers and say you could check it out, because I will think you'll struggle to find anything as good looking and as easy to learn and as smooth as this from a dry Euro engine building perspective. So that's it for me on this episode of the Broken Meeple. If you like what you see, please remember to leave a like and a comment. It means the world to me to know you appreciate the content. Do you agree with my views or disagree? What do you think about settlement? Let me know, I'm interested to read them. Don't forget that the channel is sponsored by zatu.co.uk, and if you want to check out more content on the channel, you can see my latest review of Legends of the Dark, the new Descent game, or you can carry on with my ever popular top 100 at this video right here. Take care, and remember, as always, it's only a game. Good night, take care.